What is up, son? What is up, Sundal? What is up, Sundal? No, what is up, Soul Fam? It's Sundal from Substance Over Style. And welcome to a new video. I have got some Palo Santo on the go. So I brought 2 brands of this Palo Santo from a shop in like in the Peak District. I was at the Peak District over the weekend. It was so nice. It was so good to get out the city. So this one's from Satya. I'm sure you guys know this brand. You've seen it everywhere, right? And then this one's from Elements. So I tried that one already. Smells pretty good. I'm going to try this one. So this video is going to be slightly different to what I originally thought it was going to be. I was going to make a video about how, you know, since the Lionsgate portal opened, I'm feeling so much lighter and more positive and done with the darkness and you know, looking at that whole negative narrative and feeling more creative and like I want to manifest and, you know, anchor in New Earth and, you know, talking about what we're trying to create. But then this Schumann resonance spike happened yesterday, and I always feel these like in changes in energy that I don't, you know, it's not necessarily like I feel affected by these things. It's just stuff happens in my life. I get triggered or I get upset, or I have a purge, an emotional purge around something, and then I'll see that it's some conjunction or some astrological indication, or, you know, this time it was a massive spike in the Schumann resonance yesterday, a lot of intense energy coming in, and I just noticed that my social media was going a little bit crazy, where people were just posting about, you know, things happening on the global stage or things happening in their, you know, in their personal lives, you know, to do with friends and family, and, you know, the bifurcation that we're currently going through, the timeline split. So I was having some issues around the timeline split, which is causing rifts between friends, between family, as the matrix crumbles, and those who are really heavily invested in the matrix and wanting to hold on to it, and those who are wanting to anchor in something new, who are a bit more visionary, who know that a better world is possible, are kind of at odds with each other right now. So when you're on this ascension journey, you will sometimes find yourself at odds with people who were previously very close to you. You know, they could be your best friends, they could be partners, they could be your family even. And when the frequencies no longer align, you have to let it go, because it just doesn't fit anymore. Okay, your worldview is too different. And sometimes, you know, it happens where right now we've got this, it's a mind virus that's taking over. Okay, when I said the real coronavirus is the virus in our crown chakras, okay, the Wetiko. It's a mind virus that will literally take over the minds and souls of people. Sorry, I actually just want to lower this a little bit. I'm not liking the aspect ratio. Can I do that? Is it letting me? It's not letting me. What the hell? Maybe I can tip this. Just give me a second. Just get a bit of collarbone action. Yes. Okay. So, yes, you know, you'll find that you no longer resonate with certain people. You may be at odds with each other over everything that's going on, because, you know, it's pretty intense what's happening on the world stage. And with some people, there's just no talking to them, because, you know, if you've got some people that believe that, you know, certain things, medical interventions and things like that should be mandated, and you believe that my body, my choice, and everybody has free will, and everybody's free will and sovereignty should be respected, I don't know how you're going to see eye to eye. Like, I can see eye to eye with people, you know, who've made the sovereign choice to, you know, make whatever decisions they want to for their health, as long as they respect that I also have that sovereign choice, and everybody should have that sovereign choice. And I have many friends that have made the choices that I haven't made, and we've still hung out, and we, you know, we've been fine with each other. We've been totally cool. In fact, we've been quite still close and cool with each other, because they respect my right to choose as well. But there are other people who are going to get very triggered by you speaking your truth. And now is not a time to shy away. Like, if if you're the kind of person that is still like afraid to actually stand up for what you really believe and I'm not saying that you have to go broadcasting it like, and you know, blasting it on social media every single day, but when it comes down to it, are you willing to stand in your sovereignty? Because if you're not, you will buckle under the pressure. Right now these times call for us to be really spiritually strong, and I truly believe that like we're being sorted right now. Will you be wheat or will you be chaff? Are you strong enough to stand up for yourself, for your children, for society, for the truth, for what's right and what's moral? Because if you will not, then you will be assimilated into the beast system and into the descending timeline. So that's what's happening right now. And it will involve letting go of people sometimes, and that doesn't mean that it necessarily has to be a permanent thing. Okay, throughout my spiritual journey, which has been, you know, over the course of about nearly 10 years now, it was 8 years ago or 9 years ago that I had my spontaneous Kundalini awakening, but I'd kind of started searching even before that, and my truth journey began even longer, even before that. So it's been many years. I've had to let go of a lot of people because they didn't. I can respect that other people don't share the same views as me, but if they're going to be insulting towards me because of my views or because they don't like what I have to say, then they have to go. And because I will not tolerate disrespect. And if people are going to mock you or disrespect you because you have a different worldview to them, then they need to be removed from your life. Now, I understand if, you know, you like at the point that we're at now, I don't think it's acceptable for people who think however they think, you know, critical thinkers, truth seekers, conspiracy theorists, whatever you want to call yourself. I don't think it's appropriate for us to be telling other people how they should think. Okay, because it's everybody's free will choice to believe what they want to believe and ascribe to whatever belief system that they want to. You, by all means, you can share information and, you know, have a respectful discussion with people, but if people don't want to have the discussion with you, you don't have to, you can't force them to have the discussion with you. Everybody has the right to say, I don't want to discuss this, and no, I'm not open to your information. If they disrespect you, then by all means let them go. So right now we're probably gonna, if you choose to interact with people who are on the descending timeline, be prepared for matrix agents attacks. Okay, so you know, what is this? I talked about this before. You guys have seen the Matrix, right? So the Agent Smith is basically, can be anyone within the Matrix that when basically when you say anything, it doesn't have to be, you know, you pushing your opinion on anybody. It's just you expressing your views on something, because it threatens their reality or what they believe to be true. They will attack you because they're basically fighting to defend their worldview. So understand that basically when these attacks come, they seem very irrational. They are irrational. And you cannot try and use reason and logic with these people because they're operating at a completely different frequency bandwidth. And if they were open to the new information that you presented them, which is maybe your knowledge base is here and their knowledge base is here. It doesn't have to be a linear thing, but I'm just using that to illustrate it. It's just on this subject. I'm not saying that we're higher than them or whatever. They may know things that we don't know, okay? So don't take it in that way. So on the subject, you might be talking about, let's say you mentioned something about astral projection, and that threatens their worldview. So if you present information, you know, to meet them where they're at, that's maybe here, because it threatens their worldview, they won't want to look at it. They won't even want to acknowledge it. They'll just insult you and attack you because maybe they know that you have got some views which are too wacky and too far out there for them. So they'll go, oh, well, you're into all of that stuff. So they'll use humor, sarcasm, just to try and belittle you and to dismiss you and to dismiss whatever you're saying. Do not tolerate this disrespect, okay? Those of you who follow me, who follow my channel, who resonate with the things that I teach, and I've spoken to you in the DMs and everything, I have some of you as clients, y'all are divine royalty on this planet, okay? Many of you don't even realize this yet. Just because people who are assimilated by the Wetiko mind virus do not acknowledge your status just because they don't recognize your light, your divinity, and respect you for what you're bringing to this world, doesn't mean that you don't have incredible value and incredible worth. Okay, there were a lot of us that were sent in to this reality because everything here is inverted, right? NPCs and Matrix agents don't understand that, okay? And for them to acknowledge that would involve a complete restructuring of their entire worldview, and basically they rely upon the inverted reality for their survival. Those of us that have come to dismantle the inverted reality know that our survival does not depend on what is in this world, because we know that there's a world that exists outside of here. We know that this lifetime is only just one lifetime, okay? Many of you have explored other lifetimes. You've visited some of those lifetimes. Many of you actually visit those lifetimes in your dreams, okay? Many of you can bilocate. So you know that, you know, this skin suit that your consciousness occupies is just here for a fucking blink of an eye, just to do this one mission, okay? So where am I going with this? So you're not concerned with what happens with this reality. If anything, you want to see this matrix crumble, and you're quite okay with if that means that you die, because you know that your soul is immortal, right? So they don't know that. A lot of them don't know that. What they think of as objective reality, and I'm not here to prove anything to anybody, okay? I understand things by my direct experience, and I'm going to explain more about that right now. Objective reality, what they believe to be objective reality, is what we call objective reality is 1/10,000,000th of the visible light spectrum, okay? It's not even a fraction, it's not even an iota of everything that's going on within, you know, the multiverses. So if you're a human being, if you're living a human experience and you have some kind of extrasensory perception, like your third eye is open, you can bilocate, you can astrally project, or whatever it is, or claircognizance, clairsentience. Human beings can naturally do this. Many of us are shut off from those gifts because we're, you know, targeted and enslaved and poisoned, and, you know, all of these systems that are used to dumb us down on this planet. So that keep us within this narrow frequency bandwidth. They think that that is objective reality, and they will only acknowledge that objective reality might be this when there are scientific peer-reviewed studies to confirm it. Now, if you're going to wait for scientific peer-reviewed studies to confirm that something is true, you're going to be about 10, 15, maybe even 100 years behind other people who already know that certain things are true through their own direct experience. Like, I know that it's true that I exist in multiple dimensions because I've experienced it. Many of you also know that. I know that it's possible to remote view and, you know, see what's happening in other parts of the world just by tuning in through your pineal gland, because I've experienced it myself, but I mean, it's not one of my main things that I can do. I've had it happen spontaneously, but I know plenty of people who can do it, and I trust their vision. So, you know, what is objective reality? Are we just relying on consensus objective reality? There are people, a lot of these matrix agents will not accept certain things are true until there is a consensus of people who will acknowledge that these things are true. But they will not, the matrix will not acknowledge certain things are true because it threatens their existence. They need to keep on feeding on enslaved and disempowered human beings. So of course they're not going to tell you about your power and about your natural human abilities and what your light body is actually capable of, because if they did, you would not be food for them anymore. So then if they're waiting for their masters to go, yes, it's true that you can bilocate and you can astrally project and, you know, you can how telepathically communicate, we've done this scientific study, they're not going to fucking tell you that. They're only going to tell you that when enough people have experienced it to shift the consensus reality. So just like the mainstream media will only start talking about certain things and reporting certain things as true when the alternative media gets so loud that they can't ignore it anymore. And I need water. Where's water? So I have a little bit of water though. Okay. So where was I? Yes. So if you're going to wait until mainstream science and the mainstream media tells you something is true before you believe it's true, you're going to be very, very far behind. You're going to be very, very behind the curve. That's cool if you want to do that. My guess is that the people who watch my channel are not those types of people. But I do think that it becomes almost like you can't really be your authentic self when you're having to stifle so much of your expression of the things that you know to be true. You can't talk about them because the consensus hasn't caught up to that being true. So you just have to kind of bring yourself, you know, into this narrow band of frequency in order to talk to normal human beings and pretend that you're like them. And some of them are also pretending, because they you know, humans can naturally do this. A lot of people who are even, you know, we talk about them being plugged into the matrix, still have these natural abilities and gifts, but they just don't talk about them because they know that they're kind of out there, and, you know, they're not commonly accepted as being true, that we can do these things and that they are real. Like, it is possible that you can have prophetic dreams and, you know, other such things. And just bear with me 1 second because I need to get some water. I'm feeling very dehydrated. Okay, where was I? All right, so I was talking about losing people on the ascension journey and dealing with matrix agents. So sometimes your good friends and your family will turn into matrix agents if you say certain things that threaten their worldview. So don't take it personally. Try not to engage, but I know it can be hard sometimes. I did it yesterday where somebody got very threatened by me saying a certain thing. I could have backed away and went, no, this person is trying to steal my energy, or they're trying to, whatever they were trying to do, God knows, trying to silence me. They were trying to silence me. And that really, for me, I do not tolerate being told what I can and cannot do, what I can and cannot say. So I was just like, don't you dare silence me. So I said my piece. And it obviously threatened a lot of people. They didn't even want to engage with what I was saying, even though I brought it down to a level that they was within their consensus reality, and said, these are some very credible scientists who are backing up what I'm saying. I might not be a doctor, but none of you are doctors either. Here are some doctors who are basically giving the same opinion as what I'm saying. Look at them. They're very credible. They have very good credentials. And I literally just got a bunch of insults thrown at me. So when people come at you with that level of disrespect, when you know who you are, you do not fucking tolerate it. Like, I will not tolerate that level of disrespect. I don't care if they don't know who I am and what I'm here to do. It's not for them to know. I will not allow people who speak to me like this, and this is what I feel like, you know, a lot of people that I speak to are dealing with because they don't understand who they are. Do not allow people to have access to you. If they are going to speak to you in ways that belittle you, that make you feel worthless, a lot of these people do not realize that they are hosting entities, that they are hosting, you know, I like to call it the Wetiko. That's the indigenous term for this kind of mind virus that's kind of, it's narcissism, you know, within consensus reality would probably be understood as narcissism. Others refer to it, my mentor Emily refers to it as a reptilian interface. In the Gnostic traditions, they call it the archons, which are actually like, they personify as these interdimensional beings, but they actually kind of operate as like a hive mind. Humans also operate as a hive mind. It's kind of, you know, you pull thoughts in. Your brain is a receiver for thoughts, right? So we are a hive mind. We're pulling in thoughts that are kind of sent into the collective mind. And depending on your vibrational frequency, you will be able to receive thoughts that are at that same frequency, right? So, you know, if you're vibrating at a frequency of fear, then you will pick up the thoughts that are vibrating at that same level. And for everything else, for every other corresponding emotion. So I'm not saying that they're doing this deliberately. Let's focus. Is my camera... Sorry, I'm trying to focus the... Yeah, it's working. Okay. Okay. So, where was I? So they don't know. I'm not saying that they deliberately know that they're hosting entities and feeding the entity with the loosh from the interaction that they're having with you. You can also be hosting entities. I've talked about this before in previous videos, okay? If you have any kind of wound or any kind of trauma, entities will take that as consent to latch onto you and keep on running programs in your mind that continue to feed on the loosh from the trauma. Okay, which is why it's really important to clear your traumas, which is why I have my course, Reclaim Your Crown, that basically clears trauma from the body, and also the quantum healing sessions that I do with clients. We actually go into each individual trauma that's causing whatever issue they're having in their life, in their relationships or problems with addictions I've helped to collapse out, and we go into the trauma and we collapse out the timeline and bring back that aspect of their soul. And whatever gifts and templates come through will get activated as well. So, you know, they have entities that are basically feeding on the negative emotions that are arising from the interaction, especially if it's between loved ones, because there's a lot of trauma that comes from having negative interactions with loved ones. That's why, you know, they get so targeted. That's why, you know, the hierogamic template, the masculine, feminine, you know, in divine union, the marital template of man and woman is so heavily targeted on this planet, because if you can cause fracturing of the heart and the sexual centers, which are extremely potent with life force energy, you can really enslave the human being and keep them looping and off their highest timeline and not doing their mission, because they're just collapsed in their pain body because of all the trauma from being fractured from their beloved, with arguments and things like that. So, you know, if you're having arguments with family members about things that are going on politically and whatever, that will cause a lot of intensity and triggers and things like that, especially, you know, if it's like a sibling or a parent, you know, triggers from childhood will come up to the surface, and so that these entities can feed on them. So, you know, I'm not saying don't get into it, because sometimes it's, you know, it's too difficult not to. I'm just saying that this is what might happen, and protect your energy. If you need to cut off people temporarily, I'm not saying that this has to be a permanent thing, do it. Because if you're a person who's anchoring in the new earth, some of those people aren't going to be coming. I'm sorry to say. They may join later at a later date, but like throughout my ascension journey, I've let go of so many people, and some of them I just didn't like their energy anymore, and there was no big blowout or argument. I just quietly distanced myself because I found that they were irritating to me, or they were getting rude, or they didn't like what I was about. People will get triggered by you as you start leveling up your consciousness, as you start to step into your power, as you start to speak your truth, because they can no longer, you don't benefit them in the ways that, you know, you did before, when you were codependent, when you allowed people to feed off of you, when you allowed people to use you and whatever. People will, even if they are loved ones, they will get very threatened. Or like, you know, if you're on a level up journey, if you're trying to improve yourself, if you're trying to better your life, a lot of people will get triggered by that, because it's like they're so in their misery, that it's like this crabs in the barrel mentality. How dare you think that you're better than us? Like, you think that you're better than us, that you can just leave us here in the dust, like you're forgetting your roots, like all of that kind of stuff. So, if you need to distance yourself from people temporarily, then do that. I've done that many times from people, and then found later on that they come back into my life. Now, sometimes the frequency is not there like it used to be. I've had friends that I was really close to where, you know, we almost, when I was very, you know, a lot younger and was very, you know, had issues with my self-esteem and my confidence and things like that. And we were close because we would, you know, talk about all the fucking issues that we had. And so it was like, you know, misery loves company. So it was like that. Oh yeah, I'm so insecure about this, and I'm so insecure about that, and I hate that, and men and this, men are that, and I have this with this sexual misery with this guy, I have this misery with that guy, and you'd bond over it. When you start leveling up and you start dropping the old stories and not having time for that anymore, you can't sit there anymore with people who are wanting to just complain about shit and not do anything about it. It becomes, you know, triggering to you as well, because when they're still running victimizer software, it's, you know, unless you come down to that level and be like, yeah, okay, I get it, he's an asshole, whatever, you're right, it doesn't help them at all. You're not really being truly authentic, but if you were to actually speak your truth and be like, well, actually you're toxic as well for putting up with that, and you're victim blaming, and that's not being compassionate, that's not trauma informed. And okay, that's fine, I get that, like I totally get that. I think it is important when somebody is still in a state of trauma where they're looping for, you know, to be shown compassion for the things that they're putting themselves through. But this is why I think when somebody's trying to break out of that cycle where they're, you know, in toxic relationships or whatever, and continually allowing people to disrespect them, they need more than just compassion and talk therapy and somebody to understand where they're at and like tell them what they should be doing. Because if they've still got the trauma that's allowing them to become a vibrational match to negative circumstances where they keep on being disrespected in the same ways as they were in early childhood, for example, that's cool. They're basically manifesting the circumstances on the outside of them because it's an invitation for them to see the wound that is being triggered so that they can go in and heal it. And this is not me victim blaming. I've been through this process myself. I've been in toxic relationships, I've been in abusive relationships, and the way that you get out of them is by understanding your inherent power, and the ways that you are co-creating that. You need to clear the trauma from your body. They need to clear the trauma from their body. As soon as you clear the trauma from your body, then you are no longer a match to their circumstances. They'll still come up. They'll come up as a test for you to see where you're now at, and you'll go, I'm too good for this shit. No, fuck off. I'm not dealing with this bullshit. And you walk away, and that's it. And you break the cycle, and then you'll be tested with new things. And it's, you know, it's a never-ending process. It doesn't happen overnight. But it is important for you to clear the trauma from your body so that you don't keep on getting triggered by these things. So breath work is really helpful for that. That's why I recommend the Marcel Hoff course, the Marcel Hoff technique. It clears trauma in just like 1 or 2 sessions. Like I think I did like 3 sessions, and it just cleared so much trauma from my body. It was like 3 layers, and then after that, now when I do it, I actually get high, and there's like not that much trauma left to clear. But the Kriya Yoga, which I teach in my course Reclaim Your Crown, will actually go in deeper. So you can do the breath work to release the first few layers of trauma, then do Reclaim Your Crown, and go in deeper and with removing the guilt, the shame, the responsibility, the drama, the victimizer, anger, and all of that stuff, you know, injustice. All of those things are stored in different parts of the body. So we actually go into specific parts of the body, clear it, run energy through it, flush it out, and you will actually come out of that. It's a 10-step process. You will come out of that after 10 days, or if you want to do it once a week, 10 weeks, you will be a different person. Like, you will save yourself years of looping. I say this in every single one of my videos because it's a very powerful technique. And it will be so much easier. It will be so much easier for you to not put up with bullshit. That as soon as somebody comes to you with bullshit, people may still come to you with bullshit, because especially if they've known you for a long time, because they remember how you were when you didn't have any respect for yourself and when you did put up with stupid bullshit. But they don't realize that they're dealing with a new person now. So you just go, no, fuck off. And you just cut them out until they come correct, okay? So people need to know who you are. And you need to know who you are for them to know who you are. So that's how it works. Yeah, things are getting really, really intense right now. So I encourage everybody to just be really spiritually strong. Take care of yourself. I think it's also a good idea for people to get like food supplies and stuff like that. I don't want to be scaremongering or anything like that. Could be nothing, but I am hearing stuff about coming food shortages from supply chain issues to do with the pandemic. But I think a lot of it is also engineered because of the Great Reset, you know, with the farmer strikes in India. I think they're trying to engineer certain situations to bring in, you know, a lot of the stuff that they want to bring in with the Great Reset and the Agenda 21 with the farming changes. So I think that certain foods are going to get a little bit expensive. I have noticed certain issues with some of the foods that I've been buying. I've noticed buying food from like quite good suppliers and there's something wrong with it. Like I bought some amaranth and it literally was full of grit. Like it had like these sharp pieces of grit in it. I bought like a bulk, like, you know, a bulk order of like organic soy milk from Tesco. Opened it, it was completely rotten. Like, I mean, it seemed fine, but it smelt like there was something wrong with the beans. So I think that, and it's not just me, I'm hearing from other people as well that, you know, certain products that they're trying to buy, you know, the shelves are empty, they don't have certain things in, there's some supply chain issues. If you live in a major city, there might, look, it might be nothing, but I think it might be worthwhile just for people to have, you know, a couple of bulk bags of rice, some lentils. You know, I've told my family, I've told my mom to get a few bags of like, you know, the big bags of rice that you get in like the Indian shop. You know, Indian people, we always buy, you know, bulk rice and lentils, and then some tin stuff as well. Just have some supplies just in case, because we don't really know where this is going to go. I think there's going to be some intense changes with our financial system. Get some gold, some silver bullion, get a little bit, put a little bit in crypto. I'm not telling you what to do, okay? Okay, forgive me. I'm not telling people what to do. This is what I'm doing. You guys can take it or leave it. I think it's just good to be prepared. I'm not like doomsday forecasting. It's just right now things are so uncertain that I think it's a good idea to put, if you've got a little bit of extra money sitting in the bank. We don't really know where fiat's going to go. I've heard that, you know, it's going to crash. So I've put a little bit into Bitcoin, not Bitcoin, crypto, some in Bitcoin and then other coins as well. I've got some bullion. Yeah, and that's it. But I mean, you know, other people can do whatever. If you want to have like, if you have enough money to invest in property, land, supplies, definitely food supplies, I think that would be a good idea. I mean, you're going to eat the food anyway, right? And bullion holds its value. Crypto, I wouldn't put in more than you can afford to lose, because that's also very uncertain. So yeah, like I said, I'm not telling anybody what to do. I'm not a financial advisor or anything like that. It's just what I'm hearing, and you guys can do whatever you want. That's what I'm doing. And yeah, just stay really spiritually strong, really centered. Be really careful right now, because the matrix is crumbling, and if you spend too much time looking at the descending timeline, I'm not saying don't be informed, because obviously it does affect us, especially people who are still, you know, people who need to travel, or people who still have jobs, you know, 9-to-5 jobs within the matrix. You know, some of these mandates might affect you. But you know, just take time to also understand that when for a new world to emerge, the old must be destroyed. Creation cannot happen without destruction. So that is what we're seeing. This is literally what we've been preparing for since 2012, some of us even longer. This is the awakening that we have been praying for, and there are so many people awakening on the planet right now. Like, yes, I did not know, if I had known that it was going to be this intense, probably I might have been a bit more like, let's slow it down a little bit, because it's a lot more intense than I thought it was going to be, and I didn't think that there would be so much upheaval and you know, destruction and, you know, emotional purging and all of that stuff. So it is tough. If you guys need any support, reach out to me. I'm happy to talk to all, you know, I have many conversations in the DMs with people. I've connected with some amazing people. I definitely don't charge for those. If you want to book a session with me, I do quantum healing sessions. But if you're having a hard time and you just want to chat, my DM inbox is open, you know, and I'm happy to chat with you guys, you know, because it's tough times that we're going through right now, but it is going to get better. I feel very, very optimistic about where we're headed as a collective. This is what I came here for. And, you know, I just want to reassure you guys, if you're having a hard time, that, you know, better days are coming, but it is going to get a little bit crazy for, I think, the next few months, maybe even possibly the next year. So just make sure you have your supplies, make sure that you're centered, grounded, that you're making plans, you know, to take care of yourself and your survival and stuff. But yeah, like, I think we should also take some time to focus on the good things that we want to manifest. I just got off the phone to my boyfriend, and he just did a little medicine journey, and he said that when he was in having the journey and the introspection and stuff, he said that he found that when he would focus on like the bad things, like, you know, he was, you know, seeing fractals and stuff like that, when he would focus on like the spiky, jagged ones and really concentrate on them and think about, you know, how ugly they were, they would get more jagged and more scary and like teeth and like snarling. And he was just like, whoa, okay. But when he would focus on like the nice, beautiful, flowing geometries that, you know, made him feel good and made him feel happy and positive, he would get more of those and start to see more of them that would unfold. And he also noticed that if he tried to get something to stay too long, like if he was enjoying a particular, you know, frequency, if he tried to control it too much, he could kind of control what he was seeing in that way, but if he tried to control it too much, it would start to turn jagged and scary and weird. But if he just accepted that, you know, things are constantly in flux and in motion, then it would stay, you know, nice and harmonious and flowing. And that is very much like life. And it's also, I said to him as well, I was just like, that's how our relationship has played out as well. When I focused on the negative things got really bad. And, you know, now I'm being very, very focused on all the positive things in our relationship, and it's really, really good at the moment. And life is like that. And like I've said, I'm not a person that's like, ignore the negative. You guys know that I've like followed Mark Passio's work, and, you know, he talks about that in his New Age Bullshit seminar, which is one of his best works in my opinion. I don't believe that you should just ignore the negative, and I get very, very upset with people in the spiritual community that only want to talk about the positive things and ignore the darkness that is on this planet that we are here to transmute. Definitely be informed about what's going on so that you can be a light to help transform it. Be informed. However, don't get too bogged down with it, because understand that a lot of this stuff that's being, you know, not perpetrated, things that are being spread in the whole, you know, we talk about the mainstream and how it's all fear driven and their purpose is just to get people fearful so that they give away their power, because you don't make rational decisions when you're in a state of fear. It's exactly the same in the conspiracy camp. Okay, so understand that these psyops, the dark controllers of this matrix reality are very, very sophisticated. They're not stupid, okay? They're certainly not empathic or emotional or compassionate, but they are mind intelligent. They know what they're doing, okay? They're not going to be stupid enough to just, you know, run mind control through the mainstream and, you know, ignore the truth community. They're going to infiltrate the truth community as well. So there are psyops everywhere you look, okay? So don't, stay sovereign. Don't believe everything that you see. Don't get too, yes, okay, some of the stuff that they're saying is their agenda and this is what they're doing and this is what they're planning and FEMA camps and all of this, whatever. Yeah, okay, that might be their plan. But you are a divine, immortal, spiritual being that can bend reality just using the power of your intention and your mind and your heart, co-create. And you know, the universe bends to our will. People, I'm not talking about law of attraction, I'm talking about conscious creation manifesting with God, which was the video that I was going to make this week, but I'll have to make it another week. Okay, I've talked about manifestation in many videos. Okay, this stuff works, and the best, like, it's not false light. Okay, not when you're connecting to the 12D and you're co-creating with the Most High, with the Creator. It becomes much easier when you're co-creating with the Most High, because if you're circumventing the Most High and you're co-creating according to your own will rather than God's will, then it's a lot harder, because you're constantly trying to, you know, just like my boyfriend was saying, when he tried to control the outcome, it started to turn bad, because that's not what God wants. God has a grand plan for all of this. Okay, so when you surrender to God's will, things just flow. You don't have to control it so much. Sometimes you co-create with God, so you pray and you say, I really want this, I want to manifest this. God wants us to do that. In fact, God is streaming his golden Christ light through our temples all the time. This is what we do in Reclaim Your Crown. We stream in light into the body. Divine light, connect heaven and earth through the temple of the body, so that we can become divine agents for change on this planet, so we can co-create with God. So whatever it is that you're trying to manifest, like there are kriyas that we do that send energy up the meridians, up the spine and stuff, that will help you drop all the fear programs or all the blocks that are preventing you from aligning with your highest timeline and doing your mission, whatever it is that you're here to do. Because we're all here to do different things. We're all doing it together. Like, it's not just going to take me or like a couple of other few like leaders to anchor in the new earth. Like that, those days are over. Like, it's not hierarchical like that. Like there will be hierarchies, but it's not like I'm better than you and I'm the leader and I'm the government and everybody, you know, has to do what I tell you. That's old world, old matrix shit that's crumbling now. Okay, we're moving into a world which is based on sovereignty, universal law, free will, all of that stuff, and everybody has to work together. So whatever your area is, whatever your gifts are, your skill set, we need you on board. So yeah, that's it. That's all I have to say this week, and I hope you liked it. If you liked it, share this video, because the algorithms are really hurting me right now. I've been really shadow banned on Instagram for the things that I've been sharing. So I might start a Telegram. The thing is, I don't want to be sharing all that stuff anymore. Like, I feel like enough people know right now about the stuff that I was saying about that I don't need to keep sharing it. I don't want to get involved in that. So if I do feel the need to keep sharing things like that, or if I feel like certain things are going to get me shadow banned, I'll start a Telegram. But I haven't felt the need to right now. But yeah. Peace out, one love, self-am. See you in the next video. Bye bye.